Hello, good afternoon. Greetings from New York. I am Erica Chan from Alibaba.com. Alibaba.com is a global business-to-business e-commerce marketplace platform, and our mission is to make it easy for the world's small businesses to do business anywhere. And I'm delighted to introduce you to two of our amazing small businesses based in the US today. Michelle Stevens from the Refill Shop. She is based in Southern California, and then Gizem White from the Turkish Coffee Lady from the DC area. And before we get into their businesses and how they are transforming their local communities and also the world, I'd like to sort of remind everyone that Monday, June 27th is actually International Micro, Small, and Medium-Sized Enterprise Day. Why are we celebrating MSME Day, as it is called? It is because micro and small and medium-sized businesses actually are a tremendous force in the global economy. Together, they account for about 90% of all businesses in the world. Together, they employ about 2/3 of the world's workers, and they account for half of global GDP. And so without these small businesses from around the world would not be the way it is. But unfortunately, in the past 2 years, with all the disruptions that are brought on by the global pandemic, it's also the smallest of the businesses that have had the hardest time. And yet, if there's anything that we know, it is that entrepreneurs and small business owners are very resilient and very resourceful. And so with that, I'd love to kick off a conversation with Gizem and Michelle to learn more about what their businesses are and how they have come through in the past 2 years. So maybe we'll start with you, Gizem. Could you please tell us a little bit more about the Turkish Coffee Lady, what it's all about, and how you got started?
Absolutely. It will be my pleasure, Erica. And I'm delighted to be here with you and Michelle. Thank you so much for this opportunity. My name is Gizem Salcigil White. I'm known as the Turkish Coffee Lady. I'm a very passionate Turkish-American entrepreneur. I've been traveling the world with a nonprofit Turkish coffee truck just to promote my cultural heritage and to bridge cultures one coffee at a time. I actually started this all-volunteer project back in 2012, and I've been traveling the US, Europe, Canada even, just to sample some Turkish coffee, to promote this incredible cultural heritage and at the same time foster friendship between societies. What happened is while I was traveling, I realized that I was doing a market research unintentionally, and I saw that there was so much potential for Turkish coffee. People were looking for it, but unfortunately it wasn't accessible. They couldn't find it anywhere in the hotels, restaurants, coffee shops, and so forth. So I decided to build a small business. I was a new mom, so I wanted to build something for my baby girl. And with my wonderful partner, Amit Sherif Izgören, we built our first brick and mortar store back in 2017, and it was an instant success. It was a wonderful beginning. I had to deal with some health issues. Unfortunately, I was diagnosed with breast cancer right after I opened my first store. But of course, we never give up, right, as entrepreneurs. So I had my treatments and everything, by my wonderful team kept the shop up and running. And when I came back from my treatment, surgeries, the pandemic hit. And unfortunately, I had to close down my shop after 3 years. But again, we never gave up on our mission. I know that female-owned businesses are the most impacted by this pandemic. So even though there was so much uncertainty at that time, I wanted to start a foundation to empower other women entrepreneurs, where we donate from our coffee product sales to the foundation and leadership programs.
That's incredible. And we'd love to talk more about that later. But first, let's go to Michelle. Michelle, can you tell us more about the Refill Shop?
Hi, I'd love to. Thank you so much for having us today. It's a pleasure to be here having this conversation with both of you. The Refill Shop was one of the very first bulk zero waste stores. I opened in 2010, I just kind of had this aha moment, and there was nobody doing anything like it in the world. And I was like, hey, I wonder if I created a place, if people would bring their containers back and want them refilled. And I was like, how could we make it fun? We could do some custom scenting. And it's just been such a fun journey. I thought when I got into it that it was really a love of shopping and wanting to make a difference. But I've really realized the more I go on that innovation and ideas are my real why.
That's incredible. And what is so inspirational about both of your stories, right, is that you make beautiful and delicious products, but you're also doing real good in your local community. And then in your case, Michelle, like on the planet. So Gizem, you started talking about your foundation. Can you maybe tell us a little bit more about how it works and the types of causes and entrepreneurs that you support?
Absolutely. So the foundation actually was born during the pandemic again, and is aiming to empower Turkish culture, bridging cultures, and at the same time empowering other women entrepreneurs. Because we believe that one woman can empower her family and her, she can empower her community and her country. So we want to make sure, we support one another. And through this foundation, we do give leadership programs. We also talk with, new beginners, new entrepreneurs, how to write a business plan, how to do financial forecasts, how to negotiate a commercial lease, and so forth. It's really important to have those basic resources when you first, start your initiative. So we're trying to really empower women, families, and our communities, because I think this is the time we rise together. And the foundation is aiming to open local chapters in the long run, not only in DC area, but also in the parts of the country, because we know that again, women was the most impacted population. We had to quit our jobs. We had to unfortunately close down our businesses. We had to homeschool our children. So I think this is the time we empower women and empower again our communities, our businesses, and our future generations.
I love that. Like, thank you for doing that. Michelle, tell us a bit about the Refill Shop being a certified B Corp. And I also saw that you're part of the 1% for the Planet group circle. Tell us more about like what do these initiatives mean? And then why is that important? And how can more entrepreneurs embrace that?
1% for the Planet and the Certified B Corp are both organizations that we are honored and love to be a part of. We have been a member of 1% for the Planet since the very first day we opened. And what that means is that we donate 1% of all revenue to environmental nonprofits of our choosing. And that's been such a beautiful journey. When I first signed up for it, I kind of assumed that I would just give them the 1% and they would distribute it to everyone. But by me getting to choose, I've gotten to really get to know a lot of great organizations in my own community and form relationships with them. And so that's been really powerful. And then in 2015, we were able to get our Certified B Corp certification, which it is a lot, I can tell you, but it's so worth it. So when you see that logo on a product, please know that the love is there behind that. And it actually gave me a lot of respect for it. As much as every 2 years, it's kind of a lot of work to do again. I really appreciate that they're making sure that these businesses that they allow in to use that mark are living up to the idea behind the scenes, which has kind of always been at the forefront of our mind and our mission.
That's awesome. Shifting gears a little bit, right? I would love for our conversation to not talk about COVID anymore, but here we are. So obviously the past 2 years, tremendous amount of disruption, especially to smaller businesses. Alibaba.com actually, in collaboration with Ali Research, recently did a study, right, to look at how global small businesses have been impacted. And you both had physical stores, for example, and we'd love to hear about how you pivoted. One thing that we saw, right, was that, or through our research, we saw that businesses that were able to digitize and pivot to e-commerce had a higher chance of survival and staying afloat, sort of to weather the storm that was the past 2 years. So would love to hear, maybe we'll go Michelle and then Gizem, right? Sort of how have you adjusted your business, and what changes did you have to make? What resources did you find and leaned on to get to the other side of the pandemic?
So yeah, I mean, COVID has been a wild time for all of us, I'm sure, in one way or another. But being a brick and mortar store on a main street in downtown Ventura, it was definitely a very large impact. But I always kind of try to look for the silver lining. So for us, we were actually looking to kind of redo the store layout before the pandemic. And so when we had to close for 3 months, it kind of gave that opportunity that we probably wouldn't have really had otherwise. So we were able to kind of change the store around to make it more sanitary, but also to make it more efficient for our operations as well. So that was kind of a perk. And then they shut down our main street to cars, which has kind of been the longest lasting impact for us. As a more like locals facing business, it's a lot harder for the local regulars to just pop in and get refills or get a gift. And so that's been something that we're still kind of working. It's also a lot harder to get people in from the middle of the street than it is from the sidewalk. And so there's been a lot of interesting little bits to try and overcome. Our website has been a huge part of kind of balancing the ship from COVID. We had a kind of dinosaur of an e-com site, and thankfully we were in the works with our new site when COVID did happen, so we were able to kind of get that rolled out a little bit quicker and try to transition a lot of our audience to the online site, especially when people weren't allowed in the store. And then COVID actually also really kind of opened up a lot of opportunities in the grant space, which for my first, 5 years, 10 years of business, people are always like, oh, you're woman owned, you're mission driven. There's got to be all kinds of grants out there. And in my findings, there weren't. And so COVID, I think, in a lot of ways opened a lot of company and organizations' eyes to how important small business is. And everybody said, hey, let's step up. We have to help, including Alibaba, who, of course, was very generous. And we were one of the lucky grant recipients. So thank you guys so much for the support. It really goes far.
Of course, and a plug, Michelle was one of the 50 grant recipients last year when we launched our inaugural Alibaba.com grants program. And Michelle sort of was awarded the grant because of all the work that she was doing, right, to sort of help build a more sustainable and a better world. Gizem, what happened during COVID in addition to starting your foundation?
Well, everything just stopped. Everything we ever worked for, we're just gone. Again, like the uncertainty made everything very difficult, especially for small business owners. But we stayed with our mission. We were committed to, building bridges through coffee conversations. And again, I'm very passionate about promoting my culture, and Turkish coffee is the world's first coffee brewing technique. And it is actually the genesis of nearly all coffee types around the world today. So I know that, coffee will bring people together. So what I did, I first, of course, stayed shoulder to shoulder with my team, my partner, because it was so important to, again, stay afloat together. But of course, we couldn't open a new location. We didn't know if we could open one in the future. So we revamped our online resources, just like Michelle. So we focused on online marketing. But I was so lucky to get actually incredible support from community, especially my partners, Black Holdings, because they helped me to launch my own coffee blend, which you can see right here.
Beautiful.
So we were inspired by Turkey's cultural, treasures. So we named them after historical size, beautiful cities like Istanbul, Aegean, Cappadocia, Mardin, all these like multi-ethnic, multi-diverse region cities. So we decided to, make eco-friendly products as well. It is the most premium Turkish coffee product in the United States, with a mission of empowering women, because we donate from the sales to the foundation as well. And it's, I think, important to highlight here that we are trying to also fight the climate change with our products. Turkish coffee is almost no waste. You can put it in the soil. You can fertilize your plants. You can do peeling with Turkish coffee grinds. You can, just put it on a candle and it will give this heavenly smell. It's just, I think it was important to pivot but also, find new opportunities out there, expand, branch out, engage with more customers. But I would like to especially extend my special thanks to Alibaba because, okay, we have all these products, but there's this huge online world out there. And thanks to Alibaba, we designed a mini site. We were able to engage with buyers not only in the US but all around the world. Again, there are other opportunities for me to promote my, social cultural mission through your online channel. So again, it's so important through these difficult times, challenges, to stay together because the trust is so important. We trust each other. Again, we will rise again, and the most expensive thing in the world is trust. It takes years to earn and it takes seconds to lose. So if we trust each other, if we lift one another, I think we'll definitely recover from this pandemic situation. So I'm grateful again. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your kind words. And I think we fully agree. We always say even though we are a global e-commerce marketplace platform, we always say we're in the business of trust.
Yes.
And I also sense a collaboration happening. Maybe the refill shop can start carrying Gizem's different coffees.
Well, that would be amazing, of course.
And I know we always talk a lot, right? Like our mission is to support the world's small businesses. And you're both sort of businesses that even though small, but are powerful and forceful, right? In different ways in your local communities. I'm just curious, with regards to the competition out there, like, are there things you're seeing with regards to sort of the bigger guys competing with the smaller guys, or like what are some challenges, but then also opportunities that you see as being there for the smaller businesses? Maybe Michelle and then Gizem.
I think in my very specific sphere of refilling, we're starting to see more and more from the big companies, and I have to say I'm pretty excited about it. I think that the waste problem, the single-use plastics problems in this country and in this world are very large and very real, and we need all the solutions that we can get. So I just look forward to kind of being inspired by what's happening on those levels, and then always just pushing us to be competing in our own way with the big guys too.
That's great. Gizem? Coffee is a huge industry.
Yes, it's a huge market. But again, I feel very lucky because, my culture, in my culture, coffee is very significant. I, grew up like drinking Turkish coffee. It has a culture ritual. It's not just a caffeine rush. It's actually culture. It's also an experience. It's also very healthy. It's an antioxidant. It has a slow cooking process. So even though there's a huge market out there and it's so competitive, obviously, I think these niche small businesses led by women are going to bring so much to the table. Especially, I would like to, hopefully in the future, maybe franchise or license my brand, because I think, if we empower women, in different communities, again, we have a chance to, just support one another, support the local community, and of course, other small businesses as well. There will be more collaborations, more partnerships. I think it's all about trusting each other, and leadership. We need more women in leadership positions. That's how I feel.
Cannot agree more. And as small businesses and as an ally to small businesses here at Alibaba, I'm just curious, what do you think is sort of like the superpower of small and medium-sized businesses? What would happen if the micro and the small and the smaller businesses in the world were to disappear? Like, what would that world be like? Michelle?
Wow, I think that the superpower of the small business is again kind of that ideas and innovation, but more importantly the passion. When like nobody loves I have a great team, but nobody loves my business quite like I do. And I think that the more people who are out there getting to put their life energy into something that they believe in, like I am lucky enough to do, the more we can change the world. That was cheesy, but
Love it. Live your
So true.
passion.
No,
Gizem.
absolutely. I so agree with Michelle. I think, those businesses are the backbone of the economy, obviously the engine, to keep our communities going and thriving. So if we have the passion, if we have the courage, the inner strength, and of course, solidarity between communities, we are here to stay. We're definitely, getting more stronger and stronger together.
I love that. And speaking of being here to stay, you've weathered a few storms, Gizem. That's an understatement. But going forward, like where do you see the Turkish Coffee Lady as a brand, as a business going, say, in the next 3 to 5 years?
Again, my dream is, of course, seeing Turkish coffee on the menus of restaurants and coffee houses and hotels and airports. That's my ultimate goal. I really would like to make Turkish coffee accessible for everyone because, again, it's a 500-year-old culture ritual. It's not just a drink. It's a culture that will pass on to next generations. But with my company, my small business and my foundation, I really would like to bring communities together. So what happened is we were able to get an SBA grant after 2 years. It's called Restaurant Revival Fund. So I was actually able to open my new coffee and culture house in the heart of Old Town Alexandria, which is a blessing. And seeing people coming here drinking the coffee, enjoying the cultural delights, Turkish cuisine, and that like cultural dialogue just makes me feel so strong and so grateful that yes, we weathered the storm. It was a big one. But you know what? I mean, community first. People understand that if we stay together, we will definitely get through this difficult time. So again, I would like to branch out from here. I'm getting a lot of offers to license and franchise the small business, and maybe we'll take it to global. We'll see.
Love it. And for those global listeners or visitors, watchers, if you are interested in sourcing Gizem's coffee, she sells them on Alibaba.com.
Yes, right here. And here.
I love it, Gizem, how you're transforming, right? The conversation, you're trying to transform culture one cup of coffee and one sip at a time.
Absolutely.
Michelle, what about you? What's in store for the Refill Shop 3-5 years down the road?
Right now, our main focus is really scaling online sales. We've kind of got the new website. We've got some sophisticated marketing flows. We have some really great help happening with social media marketing. And so we're really just working to scale the revenue there. And then we do have a couple exciting, innovative ideas up our sleeves.
Stay tuned, everyone. What does success look like for you, though, Michelle?
Sorry, what?
What does success look like?
Balance, happiness, being able to treat my team really, really well, and creating real change.
That's great. And that's what this whole Transformer Talk series is all about. It's like learning from community leaders, business leaders like yourself to see how you're transforming not just the conversation, but also the way businesses operate and how consumers act. So again, like I hate to say that COVID is over, but as we are sort of on track or on the road to recovery, I'm just wondering, like, what is top of mind? What keeps you guys up at night these days? Michelle and then Gizem?
Honestly, probably the question if we're doing enough, if we're creating enough change in the world. Like it really does come down to wanting to make a difference and create real systems that work for people, that work in our modern day consumerism, that enable us all to kind of be better and live better, but without giving up anything. So that's just always my guiding light.
Balance. Gizem?
that's a tough question, Erica. Well, I mean, a lot of things, obviously, but because of what I went through, especially, after beating cancer and hopefully beating COVID as well, I mean, it was like an eye opener, really. So I really put my family first, my mental health first, my team first, people I work with. I care about them so very much. I have a responsibility for those people, for my community as well. So, there's this famous saying by Alibaba founder Jack Ma. He said, "Don't try to be the best, try to be the first." So I think that's what keeping me awake. Like I really want to take this, to another level after all these struggles, after all these hard lessons, after seeing how community can empower a woman. And of course, getting a second chance in business is just, something like I'm just so grateful for. So what I would like to again do is just empower women one, coffee at a time.
Love
That's
it.
my goal.
Any words of advice or wisdom you'd like to share with fellow women entrepreneurs, business owners out there? Gizem?
As a mother entrepreneur, we multitask all the time. So you should trust in yourself, have the inner strength, have the resilience. Hard times will pass, definitely, but the lessons will stay. So I think it's important to understand how resilient women are. And we should definitely trust more women in the workplace. Especially, I'm really sensitive about the gender equality issue. And in every workplace, like that should be really taken seriously. So women, go after your dreams, chase your dreams, enjoy the journey.
Love it. Michelle, anything to add?
I would absolutely echo that. I said life is short, and you have to trust yourself, believe in yourself, listen to yourself, and go for it. Life is short. If you have an idea, I think you'd be surprised with what you can do.
Absolutely.
I love it. Love it. We always say, like, we believe in small businesses because when small businesses thrive, our communities thrive and our world thrives. But I'd like to caveat that now. It's like we want to make sure that women entrepreneurs and women owned businesses thrive because the impact could be even more powerful. Well, thank you both so much for joining me today. It was a very inspiring half hour, and I wish you all the best, and I can't wait to follow your journey and to see that collaboration happen. And to everyone, an early, happy, micro, small, and medium-sized enterprise day. Take care,
Thank you
and
so
we'll
much.
see you next time.
Take care. Stay safe. Bye, everyone.
Everyone.